Hey guys, what's up? I'm Nikhil, your TutePad instructor, and in this After Effects tutorial, I'm going to show you guys how to create a really nice looking golden text reveal in After Effects. So without any further ado, let's get straight into After Effects and get started. Alright, so here we are in After Effects, and here I have two files that I'll be using in the project, and this files will be provided to you guys in the project file section, so you don't need to worry about it. So first thing, we have a studio reflection image that we will be using, and then we have a glowing particles video that I have rendered out for you guys. Yep, that's all we need. So let's get started. So I'm going to start by creating a new composition. Let's rename this to main comp. 1920 into 1080, 30 frames, 10 seconds, and hit OK. So right off the bat, I'm going to select my text tool and type in any text that I want. So of course you can type in your text, whatever that you want. I'm just going to type in the golden era. Alright, let's center this up. And by the way, I'm using the Trinkets decor font. So yep, you can download the font or you can use any font that you like. So after that, I'm going to select the text layer and hit Ctrl D to duplicate it. Right click, pre-comp it, and let's call this stroke. Hit OK. Select the second one, pre-comp it, and let's call this golden text. And hit OK. We can change the color so you can see it more properly. So let's make this red. We can hide the stroke layer for now, the stroke composition, and let's go into the golden text composition. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag in the studio reflection image that we have, just like so. Maybe I'll just scale this down a bit, somewhere around like that, and align this maybe. And let's add an effect called motion tile. There we have it, and increase the output width to around somewhere that it covers up our complete text, and then we can place the reflection image or the reflection image below our text so we can see it. And then we can animate the title center. So let's start from the very beginning. Create a keyframe on the title center, go to 10 seconds all the way, and let's move it a little bit, maybe somewhere around there. So now we have a really simple animation. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-comp the reflection studio. So let's pre-comp this. Make sure to click on move all attributes, and let's call this REF for reflection, and hit OK. And let's change the track matte to alpha matte. And if you don't see the track matte option, you can just hit F4 to switch between the options. So there we have a really nice reflection, but it doesn't look that natural and organic yet. So what I'm going to do is make sure the reflection composition is selected and add an effect called CC Blobilize. There we go. And then let's go to blobbiness. Let's set the blob layer to our text layer, that is the golden era. And right off the bat, we have this really nice reflection. Let's set the property from lightness to alpha. Let's bring down the softness to 10 maybe. And we don't need any cutaway, so I'm going to set this to 0. Now you can see our text look more organic and nice and natural. So this is looking pretty good actually. Let's increase the light amount or intensity to a bit more, something like 120. That should work pretty good. And then I'm going to add an effect called CC Glass. There we have it. Let's go to surface and let's select our text again. So the golden era text, there we have it. Let's set the lightness maybe to red. And one more thing you need to keep in mind, that keep the CC Blobilize effect below the CC Glass effect. So we have a really nice and organic look to the CC Glass, as you can see before and after. See the difference? So yep, let's play around with the softness. So I'm going to set the softness to, let's go with 50 maybe. And height, I'm going to set this to 50 as well. And bring down the displacement to around, let's go with -400. Yep, looks really nice, as you can see. Pretty cool. And I think that's all to it. Maybe I'll go with -400. Yep, that looks a bit more better. Let's play around with the light intensity. Maybe I'll just bring this up a bit to maybe 1110. Okay, everything looks perfect to me. And then what I'm gonna do is create a new adjustment layer. Okay, and let's rename this to CC for color correction. And let's add an effect called curves to this. And then let's bring this down and this up, something like creating an S curve. Let's go into a red channel and bring this up really high, just like so. Let's bring up the green channel and bring this up a bit. Let's go into the blue channel and bring this down. So we have a really nice looking golden text, as you can see. Maybe I'll play around with the light intensity of the CC glass and bring this down a bit. Same with the blobby lights. Maybe I'll just bring this down to 100. This to 100 as well. Okay, that looks pretty good. So as you can see, our golden text is looking really nice and organic. So let's go into the main composition and let's turn on the stroke comp and let's solo this up. And let's add an effect called Vegas. There we go. Let's set the blend mode to transparent. Pretty good. Alright, so then we can play around with the width. Maybe let's set this to 1.5, I guess. That would look pretty good. Yep, let's set the segments down to 2. And let's change the color, make it something like a white color. Okay, let's maybe play around with the midpoint. We don't need any start opacity, so I'm going to set this down to 0. And set the midpoint opacity to maybe 0.6. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's increase the brush hardness, not the brush hardness, just the hardness to 0.5 maybe. Let's see. Yep, looks pretty good to me. Maybe 0.8. Let's go with 0.8. Yep, that looks nice. And let's add a glow to this thing pretty quick. So let's add a glow. And let's increase the glow radius to 25 maybe. And intensity, bring down the intensity to 0.7, I guess. That would look pretty nice. Yep, that is looking pretty nice actually. Let's set this to maybe 65, the glow threshold. So let's glow this up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to animate the length and the rotation of the Vegas segments. So let's make sure you're at the very beginning at the composition. Let's create a keyframe on the length and the rotation. Let's set the length down to 0. Let's go to around, let's say maybe, let's go 3 seconds for now. And bring up the length to 1. And rotation to, let's go with 120 degrees. So now we have an animation which looks something like this. Pretty nice. And let's animate the rotation. So let's actually hit U so you can see the keyframe and drag the rotation keyframe to around, let's go with 6 seconds maybe, or maybe let's go with 10 seconds all the way up. Oh, we don't need to actually go to 6 seconds. Let's go with 5 seconds. Just like so. Let's select the keyframes and hit F9 to ease those keyframes. Let's check out the animation. Okay, this is looking pretty nice actually. And then we can turn on the or unsolo this up so we can see the golden text as well. And then what I'm going to do is let's hit T to bring down the opacity of the stroke. And let's create a keyframe and hit U so we can see all the keyframes that we created. So let's go at the very beginning. Let's hide this for now. Let's go at the very beginning. Or maybe let's go to, let's say 1 second and 15 or 20 frames, 1 second and 20 frames. Bring that keyframe right over here. Let's go to 3 seconds and set this to 0. Let's select the golden text, turn this on, hit T to bring down the opacity. Let's create a keyframe, go back in time somewhere around there. Let's set this to 0. Let's select the keyframes and hit F9 to ease those keyframes, and let's see what we have. Yep, that is actually looking pretty nice. Really happy with this. And then we can drag in our glowing particles. So let's drag this up on the top. Let's create a new null object And then I'm going to parent the stroke and the golden text composition to the null object, just like so. Let's go at the very beginning, hit S to bring down the scale properties of the null. Let's make it maybe 125, scale this up, create a keyframe, go to around 3 seconds and set this to 100. Let's select the keyframes, hit F9 to ease those keyframes, go to graph editor, and I'm going to create a curve which looks something like this. So let's see, there we have a really nice looking animation. Really simple and easy to create. You can pretty quickly, I can create a background for this really nice looking text. So let's hit actually Control Y to create a new solid. Let's rename this to BG for background. Let's keep it black. Hit OK, bring this below, and I'm going to add a faux color gradient. There we go. And let's change some colors. So let's make this kind of a golden color, something like so. And rest, I'm going to turn them to black, just like so. Maybe let's go with a darker blue actually instead of black, something like that. Maybe let's make this purple, so maybe darker purple. And let's make this black. And then I'm just gonna put it right over there, somewhere around there. Let's put it somewhere around just like so. Actually, I'm gonna make everything black, that would look better. And let's increase the blend to around 200, and also the jitter amount to 25%, so we don't get any color bendings. Let's bring this somewhere around there, just like that. And let's add a new adjustment layer, do some color correction. So let's rename this to CC for color correction and add some curves to this and create an S curves which looks something like this, somewhere around there. Let's see what we have. Pretty nice. Maybe I'll just change the color to something like a really nice and golden color, something really nice, something like that. And there we have a really nice looking background for our text animation, of course. So really nice and simple to create. And maybe I'll just bring this down a bit on the background. Yep. So this is really simple and easy to create, and I hope you guys learned something new today. So that is a wrap for today. I hope this video was helpful to you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Till then, take care.